I've always been fascinated by old abandoned buildings. There's something about the decay, the history etched into crumbling walls, that draws me in. So when I heard about the old St. Mary's Hospital on the edge of town, a place that had been abandoned for decades but was rumored to still have patients, I couldn't resist. I had to see it for myself. It was a cold, gray evening when I finally made my way there. The hospital loomed over the landscape, a hulking mass of brick and broken windows. The local kids whispered about strange lights in the windows at night and distant, eerie cries that echoed through the corridors. Of course, I didn't believe any of it. Ghost stories, I told myself. Just ghost stories. But as I approached the entrance, I hesitated. The air was thick with the smell of dampness and something else. Something metallic. Blood? No, it couldn't be. My mind was playing tricks on me already. Shaking off the unease, I pushed open the rusted front door, which groaned like an old man waking from a deep sleep. The sound echoed through the empty halls, setting my nerves on edge. Inside, the hospital was a labyrinth of peeling paint, shattered glass, and twisted metal. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional drip of water from somewhere deep within the building. As I walked through the dimly lit corridors, I tried to imagine what this place must have been like when it was still operational. Nurses bustling about, doctors consulting with each other, patients waiting in the hallways. But that was decades ago. Now it was just a forgotten relic, or so I thought. As I ventured deeper into the hospital, the air grew colder. My breath hung in the air, visible even in the dim light filtering through the broken windows. I told myself it was just the chill of the old building, but deep down, I felt something else, something wrong. Then I heard it, a faint sound, barely more than a whisper, but it was there, a soft moan, like someone in pain. I stopped, my heart pounding in my chest. Was someone else here? Another explorer like me? Or something else? "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing down the empty hallway. "Is someone there?" Silence. But just as I was about to move on, I heard it again, louder this time. Another moan, followed by a shuffling sound like feet dragging across the floor. My pulse quickened. The sound was coming from one of the rooms just ahead. I approached slowly, my flashlight beam trembling in my hand. The door to the room was slightly ajar, and through the crack I could see movement. I hesitated, every instinct telling me to turn back, to leave this place behind. But curiosity got the better of me. I pushed the door open with a creak. The room was dark, the only light coming from a flickering bulb hanging from the ceiling. And there, in the center of the room, was a bed. On it lay a figure, covered by a thin, stained sheet. It was the source of the moaning. For a moment I was frozen in place. The figure on the bed shifted slightly, and the sheet slipped off, revealing a pale, gaunt face. Eyes sunken deep into their sockets, stared blankly at the ceiling. This was no living person. The skin was gray, almost translucent, and the air was filled with the sickeningly sweet scent of decay. But how? How could there be a body here, untouched for so long? And then the realization hit me. This wasn't a body from the past. This was fresh. Recently dead, or maybe not dead at all. The figure's eyes suddenly darted toward me, locking onto mine. I gasped, stumbling back in shock. The moaning grew louder, almost desperate, as if it was trying to say something to warn me. I turned to run, but the door slammed shut behind me, trapping me in the room with whatever this was. "Let me out!" I screamed, pounding on the door. But the only response was a deep, guttural growl from behind me. I turned slowly, dread filling every part of my being. The figure on the bed was sitting up now, its movements jerky and unnatural. It turned its head toward me, its mouth opening in a silent scream. The skin stretched tight over its bones, and as it moved, I could hear the sickening sound of bones cracking and popping, as if they hadn't been used in years. I backed away, my hand scrabbling for the door handle. The growling grew louder, echoing in my ears. Finally, my fingers found the handle, and with a burst of adrenaline, I yanked the door open and fled down the hallway, not daring to look back. I ran blindly through the maze of corridors, the growling and moaning following me, getting closer and closer. Every corner I turned, I expected to see that figure right behind me, its dead eyes fixed on me, its mouth twisted into that silent scream. Finally, I saw the exit ahead, the front door standing wide open as if inviting me to escape. I didn't hesitate. I sprinted toward it, bursting out into the cold night air. I didn't stop running until I was back at my car, my lungs burning, my mind racing. As I drove away, I glanced back at the hospital, now just a dark silhouette against the night sky. Was it real? Had I really seen what I thought I'd seen? Or was it just my imagination, twisted by fear and darkness? But as I reached home, one thing was clear. St. Mary's wasn't abandoned. Not really. Something still lived there. Something that had been waiting, watching. And it wasn't done with me yet. I've heard the moaning every night since, growing louder, closer. And I can't shake the feeling that soon, very soon, it's going to find me.